So what is ARK anyway?
Oh, so like it's this big multiplayer game that like you drug dinosaurs until they're your best friends, and then you like chase after these half-naked new players and keep shooting them and killing them until they just give up and leave. You should play.
Can you play it by yourself?
I wouldn't recommend it. Good evening, my name is Jack Stone and you are watching Experience Bar, the home of video game inspired cocktails. Because when you've been taming a dino for the last week and some bastard comes along and kills it at the last minute, you'd probably need a drink too. Today we're going to be making the Mind Wipe Tonic from ARK Survival Evolved. Now in the game this drink is designed so that you can slurp it back and start your character again if you've ever made a mistake or you just want to try something new. It gives you all your points back, but it does require quite a lot of work. You have to go and hunt down dangerous dinosaurs and collect rare ingredients and then slap them all together, and yeah, it's a lot of effort, but at least you don't have to wake up naked on a beach again. Alternatively, you could just follow this recipe, which only requires you to go to the bottle store. Let's get started. Cool, so for this one, you are going to need a mixing glass. Don't use just the glass half of a shaker. Make sure you have a mixing glass because we're going to be using the glass shaker in a moment. You're going to need 8 to 10 blueberries, which you'll just chuck into your mixing glass. And follow that up with 2 ounces of gin. I'm using London Dry here. Now, the reason that we're putting the gin in with the muddle, which we'll do now, is so that we can keep an eye on the color of that liquid. Pro tip, when you're doing a muddle, don't try and break apart the fruit, especially for this drink. So otherwise you just end up with lots of nasty bits of blueberry in your drink. You really just want to squeeze the juice out gently. Don't abuse your fruit. That looks pretty good. So you can see it's starting to get on the way to that distinctive purple color. If you've got a strainer, you can just strain it out. My strainer doesn't fit that mixing glass, so I'm just going to use a sieve. Just sieve it into a shaker, about halfway filled with ice. Going to follow it up with 3/4 of an ounce. Oh, I can get this bottle open. 3/4 of an ounce of blue curacao and half an ounce of lime juice. Now you see it's gone slightly too far the other way in terms of the color because of the addition of that blue curacao. Depending on your blueberries, it will be more red or less red. Clearly these ones aren't quite red enough. So this is grenadine. If it's like me and you've got a little bit too much blue, just add a dash or 2 of grenadine. If it's too red, just do the opposite with the blue curacao. There we go. Much nicer purple because the Mind Wipe Tonic has that very distinctive purple, so we've got to get that right. After you've got that, simply add the other half of your shaker and shake it. Pop it off and take your vessel. I'm using a brandy snifter here, but feel free to use a martini glass. In the game, it's in this wooden bowl, but I think this is prettier and more enjoyable to drink out of than a splintery wooden bowl. Strain it out. Beautiful. I'm going to take a moment here. Sorry, Duncan, because my nose is really, really itchy. You're going to have to cut this bit. Sorry.
You're gonna have to cut this bit, sorry.
Don't do drugs, kids. This is what happens. Definitely cut that bit. Now you'll also notice in this recipe, what I've done is I've missed out a couple of things. Now in the game you make this out of major berries and narcotics and stimulants and all sorts of stuff. You get the major berries in the blueberries, the narcotic in the gin, and I like to think that the blue curacao is a decent rare flower. But you've also got meat and mushroom in there. I've made a bacon wash bourbon before, and the reason I didn't use that is because it simply wouldn't match with the rest of the ingredients. Salty meat with fruity blueberries, probably not the greatest combination, at least in a cocktail. And the mushrooms. Now I have made a mushroom infused gin before, but it is honestly a travesty against humanity to anyone who has to drink it. My friends who act as my test subjects for most of these drinks did try it, and they didn't talk to me for like a week after I made them. So don't put yourself through it, just avoid it. I avoided a fully accurate in-game recipe because it just would have tasted bad. But I think this is a pretty decent alternative at the very least. And after all that work, I'm about ready to wipe my mind, so cheers. Okay, so this is a very gin and lime dominated drink. You get this little bit of sweetness from the blue curacao and a little bit of orangeness from the blue curacao. But you also get this very, very faint blueberry bitterness just at the end. If you're using fresh blueberries, you're probably going to get a little bit more flavor than you would if you say use frozen. But regardless of what this is, regardless of your flavor profile, this is quite a strong drink. It's around about 30 to 40% ABV or 60 to 80 proof. So be careful with these. They are dangerously sippable. And if you drink too many, you will end up quite literally wiping your mind. Well, there it is, the Mind Wipe Tonic from ARK Survival Evolved. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as I have. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I've been Jack Stone. This has been Experience Bar. I'll see you next time.